Okay, so you want to own a petrol pump, not drive past one, not fill up at one, you own one. Sounds simple enough. Buy some land, put up a few tanks and a canopy, get a license, watch the cars roll in. That's roughly true. Except before any of that, you need to understand something most people never think about. The company whose name is on your sign, Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, is not your supplier. It's your boss. And it decides your salary before you've sold a single liter. Let's start with what this actually costs. The number moves a lot depending on where you're standing. In a rural location, you're looking at somewhere between 30 and 60 lakh rupees all in. Land, tanks, canopy, the works. Push that into a regular urban outlet and the number climbs toward a crore, sometimes more. And if you're eyeing a full urban BPCL outlet without land already in hand, the company wants to see at least 2 crore rupees of financial capacity before it even looks at your file. On top of that, HPCL alone charges a non-refundable application fee. 5 lakh for a rural outlet, 15 lakh for a regular one. Money you don't get back whether you're selected or not. Plus a security deposit on top, another 5 to 25 lakh depending on the category. IOCL is the one exception here. No franchise fee at all, which is exactly why everyone applies there first, and exactly why competition for an IOCL location is the fiercest of the three. Here is the part that surprises people. Money isn't actually the gate. You could have the full 2 crore sitting in your account tomorrow and it still might not matter because dealership locations aren't sold to the highest bidder. Most of them are handed out through something the oil companies literally call a draw of lots, a lottery. The company advertises a location. Hundreds of applicants apply. Each one gets screened for eligibility. Indian citizen between 21 and 60 years old, 10th pass if you're SC, ST or OBC, 12th pass for a rural general category site, a full graduate degree if you want an urban one. You also need to already own or have a registered lease on the land before you're even eligible to apply. So step 1 of getting a petrol pump is finding and locking down the exact plot of land the process is going to be run on before you know if you'll win it. Clear the eligibility round and your name goes into a computerized lottery with everyone else who cleared it. For some highway locations, it isn't even a lottery. It's a straight auction. Highest bid wins. Either way, 3 separate committees, one to check your paperwork, one to inspect the land, one to physically verify the site, sign off before anything is final. You can do everything right and still lose because your name didn't come up. So let's say your name does come up. You've won the lottery, cleared the committees, built the outlet, and now the tanker shows up for the first time. This is where the real business model reveals itself. And it's not what you think. You are not a fuel retailer. A fuel retailer sets their own prices and keeps the difference. You don't do either of those things. Indian Oil, PPCL and HPCL set the retail price of petrol and diesel centrally, the same price whether you're in Chennai or a small town 3 hours outside it, with only minor freight adjustments. You have zero pricing power. What you get instead is a fixed commission decided entirely by the oil company on every liter that passes through your pumps. Right now, that works out to roughly 3 to 4 rupees per liter on petrol and 2 to 3 rupees per liter on diesel. The official formula is more specific than that. Dealers are paid 1,868 rupees and 14 pays per kiloliter of petrol plus 0.875% of the billable price and 1,389 rupees and 35 paise per kiloliter of diesel plus 0.28%. You don't negotiate this number. You don't vote on it. The company revises it and you accept whatever comes out the other end. And here is the number that should actually worry you. That commission was revised in October 2024 and it was the first revision in nearly 8 years. 8 years of rising rent, rising staff salaries, rising electricity bills, rising compliance cost, and your income per liter sitting completely frozen the entire time. Because the one number that determines your entire business isn't yours to change. Now, on top of a margin you don't control, you're also carrying a business that the law is actively watching. Fuel fraud is common enough in India that it has its own vocabulary. Short delivery where the dispenser is rigged to show a full amount on screen while pumping less into the tank, and the classic engine oil and coolant upsell scam, where staff push unnecessary top-ups onto customers who don't know better. Hoarding, black marketing, and adulteration are punishable offenses under the Petroleum Act of 1934 and the Petroleum Rules of 2002, and oil companies can and do cancel a dealership license as an enforcement measure. You might run an honest pump for 20 years. All it takes is one employee on one shift rigging one dispenser, and your license, the entire asset you spent a crore and a lottery win acquiring, is gone. And then there's the horizon problem. Right now, fuel demand in India is still climbing. December 2025 consumption came in at 21.75 million metric tons, up 5.3% year on year, and the country now has over 100,000 petrol pumps, the third largest fuel retail network on earth. So today, this business is fine, but every serious industry voice is watching the same slow-moving threat: electric vehicles. Nobody thinks petrol demand collapses next year, but roughly a third of fuel stations in India have already started hedging, adding CNG dispensing, adding EV charging points, because the smart operators aren't asking if the transition happens, they're asking whether their pump still has a reason to exist 20 years from now. On a license, they only get to hold for as long as the oil company keeps renewing it. Time to pull it all together and answer the actual question: how much money do you actually make owning one of these? Let's run 3 realistic scenarios using that commission structure we just walked through. Scenario 1, a small rural outlet investment, 30 to 60 lakh rupees. Let's say it moves a modest 2,500 liters a day between petrol and diesel. Realistic for a rural site with light traffic. At a blended commission of around 3 rupees a litre, that's roughly 7,500 rupees a day, or about 27 lakh rupees a year before you subtract staff, electricity, loan interest and maintenance. Net, you're likely looking at somewhere in the 8 to 12 lakh a year range. Payback on your investment, 3 to 5 years if things go smoothly. Scenario 2, a regular urban outlet investment, 1 to 2 crore rupees. Urban pumps in India typically move between 10,000 and 20,000 liters a day. Let's take the middle of that, 15,000 liters. Blended commission around 3.25 rupees a liter. That's about 48,750 rupees a day, or roughly 1.75 crore a year in gross commission. Urban rent, a bigger staff and higher compliance costs eat more of that than the rural site, maybe half, leaving you somewhere around 80 lakh to 90 lakh a year in net profit. That's a genuinely good business. It's also the tier with the fiercest lottery competition for exactly that reason. Scenario 3, a high volume highway outlet, the kind built to serve truck traffic and long distance travelers. Investment 2 crore plus. These mega outlets are designed to hold 50,000 to 70,000 liters of stock, and high volume highway sites routinely move 25,000 liters or more a day. At that volume and a blended commission around 3.5 rupees a liter, you're looking at close to 90,000 rupees a day, over 3 crore rupees a year in gross commission. After costs, a well-run highway outlet at this scale can net well over a crore a year. This is the tier the big players fight over, and it's also the tier most exposed to whatever the highway traffic pattern looks like in 15 years. So here's the honest picture. A petrol pump can absolutely make you money. Real steady, boring money. The kind that doesn't ask much of you once it's running. But at every single stage, someone else is holding the lever. The oil company decides if you even get the site. The oil company decides your commission and hasn't moved it in 8 years at a stretch. The oil company can take the license away over one bad shift, and somewhere out past the horizon, the entire product you're selling has a 5-letter expiration date. Nobody's put on the sign yet, EV60. You don't own the price. You don't own the product. What you actually own is the queue, and you're renting even that from someone else.